Okay, I want to welcome everybody to the Police and Fire Commission February meeting. And roll call, all present except for Joe Dean, who is excused. Are there any public appearances, comments, or correspondence? No? Okay. Well, it is my pleasure, though, to welcome Boy Scout Will Damon. He's here to obtain a badge for Boy Scouts, as I understand, right? Well, welcome. Hope you find it informative. I just have a few comments. This Saturday, the 17th of February at 9 o'clock in the morning, Deputy Chief DeBoer has arranged for a tour of the Jackson new public safety building for PFC members. I guess the purpose of this is to help us better understand, the scale, the scope, function, workability of a modern fire station and police station. So if PFC members are interested, you can contact Deputy Chief DeBoer. I thought I'd also put out an invitation to the council if they'd like to join us, again, to get a better idea of the size and scope and how well a modern facility can function, and help them understand what's being planned with our facility. So that's Saturday, February 17th in the morning. Also, item number 2 is just a reminder, as of now, the presentation by architect Bray & Associates is still planned for the February 20th Common Council meeting. They'll be presenting their kind of overview of the new public safety building. So we're encouraged to attend if you'd like. We did have a notice put out for a quorum in case 3 or more members of the PFC attend that meeting. So just put that on your calendar if you're interested. And that's pretty much it for my comments. So I guess we'd move to the review of the previous minutes from the January 8th meeting. Are there any corrections or additions required? Hearing none, would there be a motion to accept those minutes? Okay. Motion, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that passes. This month, we do have a few anniversaries to recognize. Looks like there's no anniversaries in the police department, but in the fire department, we have Nick Kastner with 3 years. Kurt Miotek, how do you say that, Joe?
Chris Mayaki.
Mayaki, okay, just like it sounds. With 3 years. Kurt Elmauer, 4 years of service. Sam Lorge with 3 years, and Dee Dee Humphreys, 1 year of service. So the PFC is delighted to honor them for their years of service. Okay, so moving along, we can go to the police department report, and first item there is the invoices for January. Any questions? I should also note for the record that Chief Hingis is not available tonight, so Lieutenant Nye is here in his place. So please go easy on him. Okay. No questions on the invoices. How about the budget through the end of January for the police department?
The only thing I would notice is the police officer equipment's already at 47%. Half of it's almost used up for the year. Do you know what that pertains to?
I'd have to look and see. I can go break this one.
I think it's the drone.
It's the drone.
It might have, yeah. it
Yeah.
might have been.
On the invoices, I noticed an expense of $63.87 for the drone. Would that be most
Okay.
of it, Becky?
That makes sense, okay.
And as I recall, that had some reimbursement or a donation that covered part of that? Okay, or a majority of it, or all of it, or? Okay, all right, good. Okay, so any other questions on the budget? No? Okay, the January calls for service. Another busy month, 1,605 calls for service. Any questions on that? No? Hearing none, we can move on. The incident report, and it looks like that's November and December's report, correct? Didn't go into January yet? Okay. So it's, the year-to-date would be for the calendar year of '23 then at that point. Okay, great. Any questions there? No? Okay, hearing none. Okay, then it is my pleasure to present Lieutenant Nye with his plans for the Citizens Police Academy. We've been anxiously waiting to hear the report on that. So, Lieutenant Nye.
Thank you. I just prepared it's a very, very brief presentation to bring the commission up to speed on where we're at with the Citizens Police Academy. I'd like to start with first just kind of discussing the mission and purpose of our police academy, which is to strengthen the relationship between the community and law enforcement by providing a comprehensive educational program that's designed to foster mutual understanding, trust, and respect. Through the interactive classroom instructions, hands-on learning opportunities, and engagement with law enforcement officials, our participants will gain a deeper appreciation for the complexities of modern policing. Our ultimate goal is to empower citizens to become informed, involved, and effective partners in safeguarding the community. The team that's been working on putting the Citizens Police Academy together includes Police Clerk Annie Bialzik and officers Chris Erickson, Tony Vitella, and Jordan Cook. They've been very motivated and are excited to get the program up and running, and I'd like to thank them for all their efforts thus far. Course details. We anticipate starting the Citizens Police Academy on April 4th of 2024, and it'll run consecutively every Thursday for somewhere between 7 to 8 weeks. I'm waiting to a confirmation of one particular class, which would extend it to the 8 weeks. It'll run Thursdays from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Some of the topics are going to be some of the more visible topics that involve policing, including vehicle contacts, OWI, use of force, and deadly force instruction. Some of the other instruction that we plan on giving is going to include de-escalation as well as active assailants. The current work that we're in the process of doing right now is we anticipate opening the application process up in the next 2 weeks at the latest. I'd just like the chief to take a look at the application that we've created before we go live with that. We have assigned instructors to most of the courses that we've selected, and we are going to be beginning the development of the lessons and the presentations for those topics, and then also identifying the additional instructors for the topics that don't have instructors yet. And that pretty much ends the presentation. I just wanted to thank the commission for your support in reintegrating this program.
That's great, thank you. So we've had this in the past, as I understand, correct?
Yes, it's been quite a while since we've had one, but we have had it in the past.
Yeah, pre-COVID, as I recall, right?
Yeah,
or even before that?
Even well before that. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's a very worthwhile program. Glad you've taken it on.
Yeah, thank you.
How many, or where will it take place? Will it take place at the?
So the vast majority of it will take place at the police department in the community room. There are a few topics that if we are able to secure other facilities, they would be better suited to go through those topics, but we just have not gotten confirmation on securing those.
And then how many spots are open?
So we would like to max it out at about 15 for the first the first time.
Okay, cool.
Any other questions for Lieutenant Nye?
This is at no cost, and is there a minimum that you want to have in order to run it as well?
Like
Minimum number of attendees, and also I assume this is at no cost to the citizens.
yes, we would like to have between 10 and 15. There may be a very small nominal fee that we would certainly be willing to waive. But our research has kind of showed that to get some buy-in and some commitment, if we assign a nominal cost to it, that helps contribute to that.
Often does, you're right.
Right. Any other questions? No? Well, thank you for the report. We look forward to that up and running, and we'll have you back after the first episode so you can give us an update on it if you don't mind.
Very well. Yep.
All right.
Let me just say also, the range of topics you talked about sound really good. De-escalation, things like that, sounds really fantastic.
Okay. Okay, then the next item on the police agenda is February Milo training. This is for PFC members on February 27th from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. You can contact,
If I could make a correction on that.
Oh, yeah.
There was a bit of a typo. The training will be from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m.
10 a.m., okay. Couple shifts there otherwise. And who would the RSVP go to on that?
The RSVP would go to Lieutenant Kanowski.
Okay. All right. I'll just say that Commissioner Dean and myself participated last year in that and found it very worthwhile. And I think it would be excellent eye-opener for PFC members to attend that training and see exactly what officers are up against every day. So if you can make it, contact Lieutenant Kanowski. Okay, any other business from the police side? No?
No.
Okay, thank you. Then we can move on to the ambulance department, and in the absence of Chief Mitchell, who is recovering from knee surgery, we have Deputy Chief DeBoer here representing EMS and fire. Of course, we wish Chief Mitchell a speedy recovery and hope to have him back for next month's meeting. So first item on the ambulance agenda is review and discussion of the invoices for the month of January.
Pretty typical month. You'll see the outside ambulance service stuff. Those are both the digital platforms that we use, one for scheduling and the other one's for patient care reporting. And then the training is for CPR supplies. If you'll remember, we added some CPR instructors this year, so we had to get some new training supplies in order to get our people certified last month.
See, Clover Safe, that's a new vendor you're using. What's that for?
So they provide air gas testing equipment. So it's split between the fire and EMS side.
Okay.
What was AladTech?
LadTech is our scheduling software that we used.
Okay,
And the Image Trend is the patient care reporting software.
okay. Thank you.
Any other questions regarding invoices?
Our primary supplier, Emergency Medical Products, has been purchased by Boundtree. Probably within the next 60 days, they will no longer exist. So we'll be transitioning all of that through Boundtree. So hopefully the supply chain keeps up with the increased number of customers that they'll be dealing with.
Okay, hearing no other questions, we can move on to ambulance calls, both transport and non-transport.
Another busy month, 127 EMS calls. Response times in the city and town were looking good. We're at 6 minutes, 20 seconds. Attributed to having our staff in the station.
Commissioners have any questions about that report?
I see that we got an additional report for those calls that we needed outside assistance for between November and through January. And then I saw an earlier report that from a meeting that I missed last year. It looks like before we were staffed up, we were averaging 11 calls a month, basically, that we needed outside assistance for. And the time it took typically for a mutual aid assistance was more than double our response time. And now that we have more staff in the building, we've cut down on the number of times that we've had to call outside assistance. However, we've had at least, I think 13 of them since November of this year. Is that accurate?
Yep. So kind of going back to that report that we presented in September, between February of 2022 and August of 2023, I think we had about 275 mutual aid requests because we couldn't provide an ambulance. A lot of that, like you said, had to do with our staffing and not having at least our full-time paramedic and kind of a stable cohort of part-time personnel. Over the last 6 months, it's been relatively stable. We haven't had anybody go out on leave. We haven't had anybody take significant vacation. Our part-time staff has been pretty stable, so we're in a okay spot right now. It's still very fragile. Any one of those things happens, we're going to be back to where we were. But you can see, what happens with the response times when we have people available to respond.
And even at that, we still have a number of times each month that we're, even with the built-up staff, we're still not able to cover calls each month.
Yeah, if you look at our staffing breakdown, a vast minority, we're talking like 5% of our calls are covered by people that live in the city limits right now, at least on the EMS side. Vast majority are what we call paid on-premise employees, meaning they live outside of the city, they come here to work a shift. Because of the staffing constraints right now, we are only able to cover one ambulance, so if we have simultaneous calls, more than likely that call is getting given to a mutual aid company, especially at night. Usually during the day, we have sufficient staff to handle those second calls, but it's very infrequent at night that we're able to cover those calls.
And historically, when that mutual aid is needed, the response time is at minimum double.
Yeah, at minimum double.
Okay, right. That's not necessarily ideal.
No, absolutely not.
All right, thank you.
Joe, just a quick question. Since we've implemented the fees for lift assists, or the charges, I guess, for lift assists, have we seen that go down?
Magically, all of those people are finding their way back into bed. We reset the calendar on January 1st. In January, we had one facility-based lift assist. And you can remember we were averaging, 15, 20 a month. So,
Thank you.
yeah. So thank you guys for that. Our crews appreciate that, that's for sure.
Okay, the other, next item is paramedic intercepts, and that number is becoming less and less every month, it looks like, Joe.
Yeah, we are kind of continuing to trend downward. Fredonia, our neighbor to the northwest, had went to a paramedic level service, and at January 1st, we're starting to take intercepts to Wabaca as well as Random Lake. That being said, I was informed that one of their 3 paramedics had resigned to take employment somewhere else. So there are some days that they're not covered, just the same situation that we were in not too long ago. So I don't think the paramedic intercepts will be gone soon, but I think this is probably a expected number per month. But you'll see here, we're transporting a lot more with those intercepts than we had been in the past.
And that's what we want to see.
Yeah, we want to go, we want to transport.
Okay, any other business on the ambulance side?
Nothing from me. Any questions from you guys?
Okay, hearing none. we can move on to the fire department, and let's take a look at fire invoices.
Okay, so you'll see Clover's Tri-Air testing, compressor testing kits there. The fire rescue supply one is for preventative maintenance on our extrication tools. Paul Vind was for a ice rescue class. It was either last weekend or I think it was the weekend before. We sent 7 firefighters to an ice rescue training in Belgium to get their final ice rescue certification, including all of our full-time personnel. Everybody had a good time in the class, brushed up on some skills, and we'll be doing some more department-wide awareness training if we still have ice in a couple of weeks. I think I misspoke. Clover Safe is like station supply, not the Tri-Air is the compressor kits. Clover Safe is toilet paper, paper towels, cleaning supplies, that kind of stuff.
Good.
Any other, and ESO, that is inspection and call-based reporting software. Those usually hit us early in the year because that's when our subscriptions come due.
So did you say that all staff are now ICE rescue certified?
Not all. We probably, I would guess, have between 10 and 15 have the true like technician level certification. The rest of us do awareness training throughout the year.
Okay. I thought you said something about all, but, all right, very good, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, next item is the January fire calls. That, I don't recall ever going to 2 pages on fire calls.
Gangbusters. I went back. I gave up after going back 2 years. We hadn't had that busy a month in 2 years.
35 calls total, is that what I
I think
had?
it was 35 or 38 somewhere in there.
Okay. And reason for that, Joe? Anything in particular? Just
Well, we had the storm at the beginning of the month that resulted in a fair number of wire down call, the cold weather. We had a couple of, car accidents, and then a fair number of false alarms at a recurrent address that Chief Mitchell has been working on fixing. We'll leave it at that.
okay. Okay, then we can move on to your reports. First one is upcoming officer promotions.
Yes, so you'll remember last year that we had some retirements and resignations. In order to fill those spots, we'll be holding a promotional process for 2 paid-on-call fire officer positions. That'll consist of a new fire captain, and then to fill the vacancy that creates, a new fire lieutenant. Each position has specific educational and experience requirements associated with them. Their promotional process will consist of a written assessment, a chief's interview, and a scenario-based interview with surrounding communities. So we typically bring in officers of a similar level from neighboring communities, go through a scenario with them, and then score them based on their responses. Applications for those positions are due to me by February 16th. We'll plan on interviews for mid-March, and we'll be back in April with results and appointment recommendations to you guys.
So those are promotions from within.
Promotions from within, yes, sir.
Okay, good. Any questions about that? No? Okay, then we can move to update discussion regarding proposed public safety building.
All right, so last week at the Common Council meeting, the city approved a contract with Bray Architects to work on Phase 1 planning for the new public safety building. We've been working with Bray Architects since probably end of summer. And when I say we, there's a committee based with Rob Vandenhoven, Susan Westerbeck, Mark Emanuelson, from the police department, Chief Hingis, Captain Zarnecki, and Lieutenant Nye. And then on our side is Chief Mitchell, Assistant Chief Schmidt, and myself. We meet every other week. Over that time, we've kind of been refining space needs, so determining kind of what we want in a station, what we truly need in a station, because those two things aren't always the same. And then starting to slowly work through some rough schematic drawings with the architectural team. The last drawing that I saw, I'm pretty proud of. I think we've done a really good job. kind of coming up with something that makes a lot of sense, that isn't overbuilt, but is enough for us to kind of grow into over the next 50 years. One thing I did want to mention, at last week's council meeting, there was a question asking if the public safety building changes based on the referendum outcome. And although both projects involve the fire department, I would encourage everyone to look at those two things separately. The referendum only addresses funding needed for staffing firefighters and EMTs. It has nothing to do with the building. The funding stream for the public safety building can be completely independent of the referendum. If you guys come on Saturday, you'll see that the fire and police departments have already outgrown their current facilities. And again, like I said, the new public safety building we're looking at as a 50-year project. So we don't want to shortchange the new facility and recreate the same problems that we had before. So I don't think the scale of the building changes as a result of the referendum, just to kind of put that out there. So other updates, we did meet with a company called Fire Facilities. They are a company that builds fire training towers. That's something that we think is important to integrate into the public safety building, so we have a place for our firefighters to train. In years past, we used to get what are called acquired structures. So somebody wanted, to demolish a house, we'd come in, we'd burn it down. But the NFPA rules about acquired structures have significantly changed. There's tens of thousands of dollars worth of abatement that you have to do, depending on the structure, and the time commitment to do that makes it almost infeasible to use acquired structures. So it's very important for us to have somewhere for our firefighters to train and actually get fire exposure. So, and that's what a training tower essentially will do. I did go to Fond du Lac last week to tour their tower with their training chief and got a lot of good ideas from that. So,
How many surrounding areas have one of those towers?
not a lot.
Not a lot.
There is a training tower in Grafton. They haven't burned in it for years. There's a pretty lengthy recertification process that you have to go through, and I don't know if they've done that. When we're sending firefighters to Firefighter 1, we used to burn at MATC's or the Bureau of Training at MFD's Training Academy. They've stopped doing that, so now all of the training is done at Oak Creek's MATC campus.
Is
So
there
it's
like a
not-
stream of revenue to other communities that would want to use our
Potentially,
tower?
absolutely, yeah. Jackson has a tower that if you go on the weekend, we can tour, and they have rented it out to other departments to kind of facilitate some of that. Does anybody have any questions on the public safety building?
Joe, at the council meeting on the 20th, what would you expect Bray to be presenting?
I think what we will likely plan on seeing are some rough schematic drawings, kind of what the working group has put together so far. I think that's kind of the stage of where they're at, potentially, site planning, or essentially kind of how that would look on multiple sites. So I think that's really the stage that we're at right now, is kind of just putting a little bit more detail and taking a space need. So essentially you built a spreadsheet with, we need a room for this, 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 and this, and now trying to figure out how to meld that into a building that makes sense. Takes a couple iterations. And I think the biggest thing is just to give the council an update that we're working through it.
Okay.
And from your personal standpoint, you feel pretty good that this is definitely something that they're going to make big enough for you guys?
I think
Like,
so.
that you can grow
Yeah,
into?
I think we've, been honest and forthcoming with architects about what we need, and I think they understand that. This isn't their first rodeo
Yeah.
either. We've toured facilities that Bray has built in the past and liked those facilities,
Okay.
and, they all incorporate room to grow, but I think we're in a good spot with what we have on paper right now.
And I don't mean to go back, but is there, and maybe this has nothing to do with where we're at, but is there any talk, is this talk still about the current fire department not continuing to hold supplies or be another place for fire, or is it totally being,
The current plan is to have one facility.
Okay,
I feel like the chief has always wanted two?
Don't disagree.
Okay. And we have room for everything over there, okay.
I'll reserve comment.
Any other questions about the public safety building?
Thank you for that.
Yeah, please come on Saturday. I think we'll start with a tour of our building and then take you to a new one, and you'll cry a little bit inside. Pretty flexible. What time did we, Jen?
About 9 o'clock, you're thinking? Meet over here at 9 o'clock?
Yeah, we can meet at the fire department and then head on over.
That'd be great. Okay, and you briefly touched on the April referendum. You want to expand? a
Yeah,
little bit on that?
absolutely. So we continue to engage with Miller Communications to work through the marketing strategy for the referendum. You'll see a pretty big push starting this week through social media as well as mailers. They'll both discuss the rationale behind the referendum and outline the upcoming events. We do have a slide deck put together for the listening sessions that'll be held on February 29th at 5:30 p.m. and March 11th at 1 p.m. Both of those will be hosted at the library. March 11th at 1 p.m. Like I said, both will be hosted at the library. We also plan to record a version of the listening session afterwards and then post that, whether that be through public access or YouTube or whatever social media stream we decide to use. So if somebody can't attend one of the listening sessions, they at least are able to get the information from that. Last month, we filmed a short video discussing the referendum with a local production company called Middle Coast Media. I did get to watch the revised edit today. I think it turned out really well. That will likely be placed in social media here in the next couple of weeks once final draft has been approved by Miller and representatives from the city. Ironically, when we were filming that video, we had 6 calls, so it took like twice as long to film as we anticipated. But
Right on cue.
Yeah, right, exactly, right on cue. So such is life. So, any questions about the referendum topics?
Okay, good.
Where is it anticipated that the video will be released, or how?
Through social media, on the city's website as well. So I think you'll see it in multiple places.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, and then it looks like you've found some part-time personnel, Joe.
We did. Nick Kelly was actually an explorer in Cedarburg since we no longer have an explorer program. He had spent the last couple of years over in Cedarburg and now has gotten to the age to take Firefighter 1. Very eager and very motivated. He actually has already completed his EMT class. He just wasn't 18 to take the registry yet, so he should be completing that soon. Zach Cox is joining him in Firefighter 1, also lives in Port. And Sean Barber is going to be joining us as a probationary EMT. He is also a firefighter. Once he finishes his EMT orientation, he'll likely move on to the firefighter orientation, and he comes from somewhere up north, Sheboygan County. He went to school with some of our current staff, so they recruited him down.
They heard it's a great place to work.
Something like that.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, any other business on the fire department side?
That is all I have, sir.
Okay, good. Okay, Will, did you learn anything tonight? Good, all right. You're welcome anytime. All right, anything from the police department? Any other comments? Okay, good. Then I just need a motion to adjourn.
Make that motion to adjourn.
Okay, is there a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Thank you, everyone.